Welcome to the Health Fix podcast, where health junkies get their weekly fix of tips, tools, and techniques to have limitless energy, sharp minds, and fit physiques for life. Hey health junkies, on this episode of the Health Fix podcast, I'm talking with Tatiana Flow. She's a spiritual mentor who employs a combination of energy techniques to connect people to their source within, that's your source energy, to live an abundant material life, abundant in health, wealth, and freedom, and recreate happiness. Because so many folks, I find, once we get into our 40s and beyond, and sometimes even our late 30s, we start to realize the life we're living might not be what we really want. And so Tatiana has an amazing way of helping folks to discover what's true for you, what's on your path. And so in this podcast, while it might sound a little woo, honestly, we are talking about what everyone really wants to do, to take another look at life and see what lights you up, what gives you energy, what feels good versus what's draining the life out of you. Because I do believe that so many folks are suffering with health issues that are due to stress, and the stress of just not enjoying and living life to the fullest and how they want to live life. So let's introduce you to Tatiana and some of the amazing things that she has to say. All right, let's jump into the podcast. Hey, health junkies, I have Tatiana Flow on, and we're going to be talking about a subject that I've really only discovered in the last few years, this concept of source energy and who we truly are. So Tatiana, welcome to the Health Fix podcast.
Thank you so much, Jannine. It's my pleasure to be here today, and I really am excited for our upcoming conversation.
Me too, because, before I hit record, of course, we were chatting a little bit, and we were talking about how a lot of my podcast listeners are go, 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 do kind of folks. And sounds like you and I are similar in that same respect. And, a lot of folks will think, oh, folks who are really connected with energy and their own, know themselves really well have always been this way. But I beg to differ. We all kind of find a point at which we find ourselves, right? Will you share with us a little bit about your story?
Of course, with my pleasure. And I was, and in a way, I'm still a go, 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 go. Mm-hmm. It just became a little different for me. So I was in finance for 15 years, and 10 years ago, I moved to the US. I got my MBA degree. I was living in New York, in the Hamptons, traveling around the world, providing finance training for Wall Street professionals, for people in finance, for people in the largest global companies in the world, consulting companies, Amazon, Goldman Sachs, Wells Fargo, you name it. And on top of that, I was also in the real estate, helping my ex-husband to sell the most houses in one of the most luxurious places in the world, the Hamptons, New York. Many people, the wealthiest people on the planet, have their houses there. And 10 years ago, I moved to the US, and already in 3 years, I had my American dream built. I had a house in the Hamptons, a family. I had career in finance. I had, my husband was thriving next to me. And I also, on top of that, I opened my own startup. I went to Silicon Valley, raised money for $4 million valuation for the company that didn't make any profit at the time. It was just an idea. And I sold that company last year. So I understand the concept of go, go, go very well. At the same time, I would say that all this time, all these years when I was moving from Russia, from one city to another, from Russia to the US, building companies, building my life, I knew there is something more, and I did dedicate time on this internal shift to make an external shift. Obviously I was educating myself, not only in finance. I was educating myself in psychology, in esoterics, in philosophy, in many different directions, and very importantly, applying it to life and seeing what's working, what's not for me through my own experience. And I saw how when I want something, first thing to do is to make an internal switch to expand my consciousness, my view on reality, and then the reality kind of mirrors that internal shift. And 2.5 years ago, a very intense event happened in my life. It brought me even deeper into spirituality, and it changed my life completely. I tried ayahuasca for the first time 2.5 years ago. And in a month after, I had what people call Kundalini awakening. I would say in simple words that I felt my energy, the life energy I'm working with now, pumping into my system, because what happened while building all this beautiful life on the paper, I forgot to check with my authentic self. Am I doing something I really want, or what other people define as success? And here I am understanding that I built a beautiful life and I enjoyed it and I learned so much on the path. At the same time, it's something that other people define as success. And for me, I actually want something else. And I started to figure out what exactly do I want on now. Or maybe it's something I wanted before, but at some point it wasn't fulfilling anymore. And I started to search for answers even deeper and deeper and deeper. And at the end, I realized that my true path to work with people, to connect them to that source within that I found for myself. Because whether we realize it or not, we all are looking for one thing in this life, and it's love. And very often we're looking for love or God or universe, or people have different names for one thing everyone is looking for. We often are looking for it somewhere externally, where it is really inside. And in my work right now, I do energy work, and I combine different modalities with NLP practices and theta healing. Over the years, I was learning, and I have certificates in so many different things, but now it became one method I'm using and keep developing, of course, where I remind people of their free divine nature, full of love. I bring people back to love, to themselves. That's what's lacking there. People are looking somewhere else for something that's inside. And reminding that state of freedom and love for people, it changes their life completely. It changed my life completely. And I can see how my clients start just thriving, because what I mean by freedom is freedom from mind programs and limiting beliefs, because everything is possible from the place of love. The abundance is not linear, and it has no boundaries. And that's what I remind to people now.
That is something that, well, love in particular, that is something that I find that as we go through our, let's say, our older years as being women, coming to those better years where we start to really realize like what meant so much to us in our 20s, and even, dare I say, 30s. By the time we get to 40s and beyond, we're like, wait a minute, I've created a life that is not what I truly wanted. This happened to me. And it, I know a lot of women, and I think a lot of it has to do with health too. We will end up having health issues. that show up? Do
Mm-hmm.
you have a lot of clients
Mm-hmm.
that come to you that their body is showing multiple health issues because inside their source, is saying like, hey, I'm not getting what I want. I'm not where I want.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for that question. It's a great, great question, because what happens when we're misaligned with the source within, with our true selves, with the reality as is with life, when we're misaligned with that, what happens is first we have signs externally, like, hey, like just pay attention. You're not living your life, you're living someone else's life. And these signs first appear just in external reality, in energy field, what we call. But then if you're ignorant to that, it comes closer, and it comes into your body. And that misalignment can be many different things. It can be trauma you hold from the childhood or maybe later in life. Some, again, limiting beliefs about yourself, about the world that you're holding in your body. Because life, we're supposed to live through a spectrum of emotions here. And exactly through that spectrum, through sadness and joy, through anger and pleasure, through many different things. When you live through that consciously, you evolve and you live life fully. But many people are striving for joy only in life and trying to run away from pain, which is not aligned with life and reality. And when you run away from pain, it doesn't go away. It gets stuck in your body because you don't live through that feeling properly in the moment. You're looking for joy. You want to forget that happened instead of actually facing that, living through that, and much quicker it's you just live through that feeling, and very quickly it becomes something else, and you do something else. And the emotion changes when you don't live properly through emotions that you don't like, or your mind doesn't like. It gets stuck in your body, and it might become even the disease. So I have clients who come to me with pain in their body, with pain in their jaws, in chest, and so on and so forth. And what happens to release yourself from that pain? First, again, you need to live through those emotions, unresolved traumas in your bodies, to let go. And then the pain, I always say, physical reality always goes after the energetic one. So after that, pain starts dissolving. You also can help it with massages, with fitness, with it's all together. It's one. You can't separate it. But understanding that energetic state of being, your mental and just internal state of being is as important as physical. It's all together, and you can affect it from different direction. You can help yourself to feel healthier and happier overall. I think it's crucial to see it as a whole. Yeah.
Awesome. I wonder, a lot of people will talk about ayahuasca and that being kind of the pivotal moment. And sometimes we'll also hear ketamine, we'll hear, mushrooms, things of that nature. Do you feel like everybody has to go through an ayahuasca experience to find their source energy? Or, tell us a little bit more. I think for folks who are like, oh, I don't know about doing ayahuasca, what else, can I do to start dabbling in finding my source, me, and who I truly am?
Of course. I believe that plant medicine is a very strong tool that can help you to connect with yourself. The right shamans or the right people you're doing it with is crucial, because otherwise you can just be lost in this world. Yeah. At the same time, there are so many other tools, and everyone can choose their own tool. Or, for example, I tried so many different modalities. I tried different plant medicine. I tried energy work, breath work, different teachings, philosophy, and so on and so forth. Every energy work from every master is different, and even every ceremony with plant medicine with different masters different. So but intuitively feeling the call to go exactly to that person. It's not only ayahuasca or plant medicine or energy work. It's the person through whom that tool is coming to. So very carefully choosing that is very important. But overall, I have clients, and now it's a lot of clients already by now, who found their true nature, connected to their freedom, to their true power, and living life in freedom, in joy, and it's living life for us. Whatever you feel is calling for you is right. And I, as a person who tried multiple modalities to help, I'm pro all modalities, pro plant medicine, energy work. And again, it's just being mindful to with whom you are doing that work, and being mindful of your intentions as well. And what I notice, many people go to the spiritual worlds and they separate spiritual from material. They say, oh, this is real, and all material things is just, and it's so misaligned with the reality. Then they forget their body. They have problems with health, with money, with, essential things. And I say that spirituality and material is one. And we go to spiritual world to have a happy, fulfilled life in material reality. That's why we are here. So having that intention, not just go experience something and then live in material reality like you lived before, but bringing that wisdom, that knowledge that opens to you, that trusting it and applying it, and it's most difficult thing, but most rewarding thing, applying it in material life, that brings you abundance and freedom beyond your the understanding of your mind.
I think there's something interesting about the applying and also discovering and kind of getting a sense, because I think, as I mentioned before, a lot of women, right, have lived a life that isn't what really aligns with them. And they're trying to sort out what they want, like what's really them, and what are thoughts that that came to them because of either their parents, their, relationships, whatever it may be. So would you share with us a little bit kind of how you had mentioned that when you want to make a business or a change, you had brought it in and kind of shifted and expanded it. Could you explain how someone who's just starting this idea of self-discovery and really down that pathway of who they truly are, where would they find clues to understand the difference even between something that's a thought that's coming from someone else or an idea for someone else and then their true self?
That's a great question. And it's one of the most challenging things to do on the path, for sure. At the same time, everything is possible. And I would say that our body, and we're coming back to our body, right? We already talked that our body keeps the score, traumas and unresolved emotions. Our body is the quickest key to our soul and to our true self. Our body speaks to us all the time. As kids, we're very connected to the body. We explore it. We're just, being. And then with time, when we want to cry, our parents might say, oh, don't cry. You're strong, too strong to cry, or don't laugh that loud, or whatever we would just want to do with our body, express ourselves, we get shut down. And as kids, of course, you start learning, oh, maybe I shouldn't laugh that much, or I shouldn't cry that much. And you shut down your emotions and your self-expression. And this way you disconnect. That makes us disconnect to our body. So connecting back to our body and trusting it more and more, that's what helps to identify your true desires, what you really want in life. And to do that, like, again, our body speaks to us all the time. So when you feel that, that feeling here, like it's called intuition, guts, heart, something you feel from your heart, very often we might not trust it and go with our mind because it feels crazy. It feels illogical. And we shut that down. But that's exactly where the truth is. And that's exactly where your true self is. Your desires are here, not here. And here is everything that's put by society, by parents, by culture, and so on and so forth. And trusting that gut intuition. If you listen to the richest people on the planet, Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, and so on and so forth, they will tell you their businesses are not built based on analysis. Their businesses are built based on intuition and like following that. No matter how crazy it sounds to build a rocket, right? Elon Musk just believed in it. He went for it. So that's how it works. Like listening to your intuition, to your guts, more than to your mind, and feeling that when you feel that expansion, what happens? Like you have an impulse, like, oh, I want that, and then you start. Do I really want that? Maybe I shouldn't. Maybe it sounds crazy. So that drains your energy, and then you might never get to action. But when you feel the impulse and you just go, you just do it. You have the impulse, you just do it from here to here without too much overthinking, using your mind just to help you to do that, to accomplish that. That's where the power is. And as soon as you learn to live like that, impulse action and mind just helping to do that action, there's so much energy in it. And then you expand through that. When it goes through your mind, fears start growing. And fears are just an illusion, really, because when you act, they just dissolve. But it takes lots of trust, a lot of trust to like jump every time. And when you do that, and there is a moment from impulse to action to result, right? There is a gap where it's only trust. There's no result yet. You just did something and you're like, oh my God. And in that moment, trust in your intuition more than anything. And then you'll see the reward. And that result is something, again, beyond you could imagine with your linear mind. It's much stronger. So, listen to your intuition, being coming back to your body and being in tune with your heart.
So what I'm gathering is we have to stop thinking a little bit and just feel more and feel it out and see what kind of makes you smile and feel very. When I think of expansion, I want to get your opinion on this. I feel like I feel like I'm smiling from here in my chest when I find something, I'm like, yes, I want to do that. Like my whole body smiles. Whereas, when it's an impulse that's like, yeah, that's cool. It's not, I don't get that whole whole body smiling feeling. What is that kind of?
I love that.
Okay. I'm trying to help with folks who are listening to kind of get like what that feeling might be, or something that, I like to kind of pair it to, and like you were saying, a childlike feeling about something. Like when we were kids and we used to play and we had these big dreams about creating, I don't know, castles. Let's go with that, since I had My Little Ponies and castles, right? And so I would get into it and I would have this whole like little program going and I get so excited. And those are those feelings. Am I on the right track here? Are we describing it for folks? What do you think?
Absolutely, yes. Well, I love this smile with the whole body kind of thing. I love it. What I say, follow the goosebumps. If it's not goosebumps, it's not worth it because life is too short. Yeah. That internal smile, something that when you think about that, it brings your energy up. Trust that, regardless how crazy it seems in the moment. Trust that energy that going up. It can, what happens, like the energy can go up, and then with your, again, mind and some fears and some beliefs, you can shut it down and shrink. So don't let that to happen. Your energy is up, go for it. Just go for it. Just trust it, and everything else will unfold. And go for it from a place of love, always from a place of love, and choosing yourself first. You are the most important person in your life. Relationship with yourself is the most important and the longest relationship you have in life. Even your life partner, your kids, your parents, they might leave earlier or come late in life, but you and yourself is always there throughout the whole life. And only you can love yourself the way that will fulfill you first. And then through that, you can fulfill others and show others how to love.
So Tatiana, you were talking about how like energy comes up, you get that feeling, and then you have to trust that it's a good feeling, because of course we can shut down everything with our minds. I don't know how many things I've shut down in terms of good ideas with my mind over time. How do we build that trust with ourselves? How do we start to maybe journal? What's kind of some techniques we can use to kind of take note of those things that bring our energy up and we're like, ooh, I want to take that impulse?
Well, again, there are so many different tools in life you can use now, with energy work, sessions with the right person, plant medicine, and so on and so forth. But I would say in the moment for yourself, what you can think is, if you are, 90 years old now, would you do that or not? And if the answer is yes, and the answer is always yes for life, when you think that you're immortal, when you know that you're going to die at some point, what my point is, and you ask yourself, okay, do I want to live like that till the rest of my life, or I want to jump and try? That helps. That always helps.
Ooh, no regrets.
Because that's life. Yeah.
I like it. Okay.
You choose the experience over safety, over anything. You choose the experience. You choose to live through those emotions.
Yeah. No, I love it. I love it. So, of course, now we've talked a little bit about finding source. We talked about raising our energetic vibe. Now, I guess probably the next thing is folks are like, okay, Tatiana, how do we work with you? Like, what does it look like? Do you do Zoom ones? Do you do in person? How's it work? Give us the scoop.
Of course. So I do group events, and the next group event will be on June 3rd and 4th. A powerful days, full moon. And it's called Quantum Leap. And it's a combination of some discussions, very intimate conversations, whoever is willing to share. The energy it's a very safe and open place. And then I do an energy walk where everyone just receives, and it's beyond the words, beyond the understanding. Again, it's through feeling and living through some experiences, connecting to yourself, releasing old traumas. And that's what energy work is doing. It's the energy I work with is the energy of life. So by scanning your body, this energy literally finds blockages, unresolved traumas, not lived proper emotions. And it might be an uncomfortable feeling in the moment, but if you surrender, trust, and let life energy heal you, it just dissolves it. You live through that moment, and then you feel more free, and you feel that abundance that is there for all of us in the universe. So I do online events upcoming is June 3rd and 4th. I do private sessions. Obviously, private sessions are even more powerful because it's a very carefully crafted key for you, specifically for your state of being, for your path. And I do mentorship as well. Usually it's 1 month mentorship. For some people, 1 session is enough. And then I support for integration. So people don't just live through the experience, but I help them to integrate and apply it in a daily life. That's the whole point. And that's why I help after a personal session. I help clients for at least a week, 10 days. I talk with them and we ground that into material life. So that shifts their material reality for better from that state of being they find. And state of being. Yeah, so online events, private sessions, mentorship, I offer it all. And it's a combination of energy work. And as I mentioned, I work with life energy that heals it all and makes you remember, connect to the source within, remember your true nature of the creator and your free nature, free from suffering, free from mind programs, and reminds you of that abundance you have in the universe. You need to just literally learn how to channel it and apply it in the material life. You can find it all on my website, tatianaflow.com. And I would be happy to connect with everyone who is interested. I offer a free discovery call where I talk more about how we are working with the clients, and clients can tell me their intentions, and from there we decide what's better, private session or mentorship or something else. 80% of my clients wake up and become so free and start living their authentic paths, and it just to see how it unfolds is so beautiful. So beautiful. I say 80% come to that source, like they just remember. So that's such a fulfilling feeling for me to see people blooming and just stepping into their power and having courage to live honest with yourself and aligned with yourself life. Completely different quality of life, worth all money in the world, because from that state you can do anything you want.
Tell us one of your clients, in terms of like a big transformation, just so folks have a little sense of like what can happen by finding your true self.
I was talking with one of my clients just before the podcast, and she came to me and she was like, I know it's you. And on my session, felt that state of freedom and what's called ego death, or but she lived through that state of freedom. And then what happened in a couple of days, it's interesting because we also she came to me as my client, but we also are friends. So in a couple of days we were going to one of the events in Palm Beach, and I was driving. And what happened, I usually do my sessions with a setup, music, special setup, but I knew that I can do it and bring transformations to people's life without any music and being completely present in the material world. So I'm driving the car and we're talking, and I feel that misalignment in the moment, in the conversation and in the reality. So what I do, I align myself with the source, and I'm driving. So I'm completely present in material world, completely connected to reality, to the source. And from that state, I ask her a question, and she starts just the transformation starts happening right there. We even had to stop, and she was like, in some ayahuasca ceremonies, she needed to throw up some energy. She was very mindful that it wasn't, stomach problems. It was an energy that was coming out of her. It was about self-worth, about stepping into her own power and living from the truth. And what happened after that, she had a boyfriend, and they actually loved each other. They had loving relationship, caring. There were many good things about the relationship they had, and at the same time, there was something very important for her missing. And how often people compromise that, oh well, at least he's like good at this and he's good at this. It's okay. It's a compromise. And by being completely honest with herself, she had a conversation with her boyfriend, and they decided to give each other space to evolve and to see, like, to separate at the moment and see how it will unfold. Maybe they will get back together, maybe not. But that was from a place of honesty. It wasn't an easy conversation, as you can imagine, right? But from a place of honesty with herself, she had that conversation. And when you're honest with yourself, you will never, the feeling is lightness. No matter how challenging the conversation itself, after you feel lighter. That's the feeling. And she shared with me about that. And then remember I told you about the trust in the moment. So she jumped. And there was like a leap of faith she took, and she just trusted. It wasn't an easy gap. But in 2 weeks, she met another guy, and they're together now. And she has, I have goosebumps all over me. He has that missing point and everything else. There's no compromises she has to do. So just without compromises, just going for what you truly, honestly want, and you receive. But it takes trust. So that's the story. And on top of the relationship, she stepped into her power to work with the clients and raised money for her sessions. And it's just so beautiful to see her thriving in every aspect of life. And that's what I say. From that state of being, this freedom, you remember, is there. That you shut down with your brain, like remembering and trusting that feeling more than anything else. From that state, every aspect of your life just unfolds in abundance. Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty amazing. That's an awesome story. Oh, I'm sure a lot of folks right now are going like, oh, wow. Probably one of the next things that I would say, just because it's usually how I like to wrap up all of my podcasts, is really for folks that are going, okay, this is for me. I'm super interested. Obviously, we want them to go over to TatianaFlow.com and check all of your, your private sessions, the program in June, all of those different things out. But I'm thinking, what could they do right now to start tapping into their true selves? What's one thing they could take away and start practicing so that they are ready for some deeper work? What could they do?
Take responsibility for their lives. Know and understand that you attract what your brain defined good and bad situations, both, everything, yourself. And when you don't choose to evolve consciously and be grateful for life as a whole, which has good and bad, everything. Just by seeing that everything as a reality, clearly taking responsibility for every situation and asking yourself why it's happening for me. Why did I attract that situation in my life? What do I need to see? Where do I need to evolve this time? Why is it happening? So taking responsibility for your own life first for you. For every decision, you create yourself the way you see yourself. For your every word, for your every expression, for how you look, for how you feel, taking responsibility for it all. And from there, being grateful for what you already have. And from there, seeing what you want to change or what you want to explore this time, and go for that with a gratitude for what you already have. Not out of feeling of lack. Oh my God, I don't have a house. I want a house. That's it. Like I'm suffering. But oh my God, I have this life. I'm breathing. I have a place to live, and I want a house. What can I do to get that house? And how it will evolve me? Let's see. Being curious about the path you take. So yeah, responsibility comes first for your own life.
Beautiful.
And gratitude. Yeah.
It's good stuff. It's good stuff. Well, Tatiana, thank you so much for coming on and sharing all of your wisdom. There are so many takeaways I could think of from this podcast, and I can't wait to share it with folks. And I'm looking forward to seeing what happens with your June program and seeing if we can get some folks into it. So thanks again for coming on. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Jannine. It was my pleasure. And it was, I had a wonderful time with you. Thank you so much.
Hey, Health Junkies, are you feeling just off? Feeling like you're aging a little bit faster than you want to and wondering what in the world is up? Hey, I might have some answers for you and some direction. If you want to chat with me, I am offering complimentary calls right now. You can head over to Dr. spelled out JKrausend.com. Take my quiz, click on the schedule a chat, and let's talk and see if we can get you in the right direction. And if I'm able to help you, I'm going to let you know. Otherwise, I'm going to help you find what you're looking for. Head over to drjkrausend.com and check it out now. Hey, fellow health junkie. Thanks for listening to the Health Fix podcast. If you enjoyed tuning in, please help support me to get the word out about the podcast. Subscribe, rate, and review, and just get that word out. Thanks again for listening.